This is Atlantic Television Network Global News at 9 p.m. First, the headlines. AIG pledges police reform in River State. Police nab major arms dealer. Federal government secures 2.8 billion naira Google grant. Nigeria's money supply rises by 62%. Spain mourns after flood kills 95. Actor Agbako dies at 101. Mwabali names favorite club. In a stern address aimed at reinforcing police integrity, Assistant Inspector General of the Police, Adebola Hamzat, overseeing Zone 16, has reaffirmed the Nigerian Police Force commitment to eradicating corruption, land grabbing and human rights abuses. Speaking to journalists in Port Harcourt on Thursday during his familiarization tour of the River State Police Command, AIG Hamzat emphasized the Inspector General of Police carried out Betukun's zero-tolerance policy on misconduct within the force. Acknowledging widespread concerns among citizens and stakeholders, Hamzat noted that corruption, extortion, and human rights abuse have been brought to his attention from discussions with various stakeholders in the state, adding that such action tarnishes the image of the police. In his address, Hamzat also encouraged citizens to actively engage with the police by reporting incidents of abuse or unethical conduct. The IG further emphasized on commitment to confidentiality. He assured the public that all information would be handled discreetly and that officers found culpable would face strict disciplinary actions. Hamzat further stated that the call for public cooperation is part of a broader initiative under IGP Egbetukun's leadership to combat unethical practices and rebuild trust in law enforcement, with the police increasingly reliant on citizen involvement to uphold accountability and transparency. Analysts have lauded the Federal High Court judgment stopping the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing River State monthly allocation. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, a lawyer, Barrister Ndamzi Ekulo, said the judgment delivered by Justice Joyce Abdulmalik has opened new jurisprudence in the Nigeria's legal system.
My take on the judgment of Justice Joyce Abdulmalik is that it has opened a new jurisprudence again in our system, and has also served as deterrent to people in authority who has vehemently and flagrantly refused to obey court judgments, and thereby, threatening the rule of law in our country. Because any society that does not encourage or uphold the rule of law is bound to fail, no matter who is involved, no matter how highly placed the authority may be.
On his part, Daniel Momo maintained that Governor Simila Efubara should obey the judgment of the Federal High Court and represent the 2024 budget before the Martin Amuehule-led House of Assembly.
I go with the judgment of the Federal High Court, saying that the governor of River State should go back and represent that budget. I also align myself with the judgment of the Court of Appeal, asking the governor, in fact, the Court of Appeal in itself, the Federal High Court was even mild a bit. The Court of Appeal uses some words against the governor of River State, saying that go back to the Martin Amuehule-led House of Assembly and represent that budget. That is properly debated. That's an argument that no one you can't fault it until there is a court that reverses that decision.
This comes after the Federal High Court barred CBN from releasing funds to Rivers State government, noting that Governor Fubara's 2024 budget disbursement violated constitutional guidelines. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court Abuja has dismissed the suit filed by the oil-producing communities in Bayelsa and Delta states, seeking to nullify the alleged illegal appointment in the Niger Delta Development Commission. The communities had approached the court seeking to nullify President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's appointment of Chiedu Ebie as chairman of the NDDC. In their suit, the plaintiffs argued that Ebie was not qualified to head the board of the NDDC since he was not from the oil-producing area with the highest quantum of oil production. Delivering judgment, Justice Joyce Abdulmalik held that, given Section 24, subsection 2 of the NDDC Act, the plaintiffs had no locus standi. It is on this premise the court dismissed the suit in its entirety. Bayelsa State Governor Duye Diri on Thursday presented a 2025 budget of 689 billion naira titled The Budget of Assured Prosperity to the State House of Assembly, outlining his administration's goal for enhanced social, economic, and infrastructural development. The budget, he explained, would be funded through various streams, including an opening balance of 14.2 billion naira, statutory allocations of 17 billion, VAT estimated at 57 billion, and 13% derivation of funds amounting to 138.8 billion. Additionally, Bayelsa expects 29.1 billion from the excess crude refunds, 103.1 billion naira from exchange gains, 39 billion naira from internally generated revenue, 39.4 billion in grants, and 141.4 billion from capital receipts, including electronic money transfers, signature bonuses, cash calls, and loans. They detailed that personnel costs would take 108 billion, accounting for 13% of the total spending, with 91 billion for salaries, 19 billion for pensions and gratuities, and 3 billion for CRFC transfers. He noted that overheads would consume 79 billion, representing 11.55% of the budget, while the total recurrent expenditure stood at 263.38 billion, or 38.2%. Operatives of the Edo State Police Command have arrested 4 persons for suspects for stealing of diamond earring, headphones, and other valuables worth millions of naira in the state. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Umoru Ozigi, disclosed this to newsmen while parading the suspects and 3 others on Thursday at the command's headquarters in Benin City. Ozigi said the arrest of the suspects followed a complaint received from one Daramola Gabriel that armed robbers invaded his home at the back of One World Hotel, South Ebie, in Etsako West local government area, and stole valuables worth millions of naira. He added that the complainant, while at a park trying to board a vehicle on October 26, 2024, spotted a young man wearing the stolen diamond earring and headphones. He said he quickly informed the police, who promptly took action and arrested one Osakbolo Edobo, 20 years old. The commissioner listed items recovered from the suspect as one locally made cut-to-size handgun and some of the stolen items. Ozigi added that the suspects would be charged to court following the completion of the investigation. A different story, 5 people have reportedly died under questionable circumstances at Afashu Community, Uzaire, Etsako West local government area of Edo State. The incident allegedly occurred last week when 5 individuals, including 4 boys and a girl, were found dead in the room. It was gathered that the bodies were discovered by family members who, after noticing they had not come out of their room, decided to check on them and found them lifeless. Further reports indicate that 2 of the victims were brothers, while the remaining 3, including the female, were friends. A community source suggested that food poisoning is suspected, as there were no signs of assault or visible injuries on the victims. The matter has been reported to the Jatu Police Division in Edo State, with family members attempting to ascertain the cause of the deaths. When contacted, Edo State Command spokesperson Moses Yamu confirmed the incident, adding that an investigation to determine the cause of death is currently ongoing. Commissioner of Police in Abia State, CP Danladi Issa, confirmed on Thursday the death of Mr. Victor Udensi, a Zenith Bank staff member from the Umuahia branch. Along with two others in Umuahia on Monday, the CP, who disclosed this while parading some suspects at the police headquarters in Umuahia, assured the public that the perpetrators would soon be brought to justice. He explained that Udensi had stopped at the Isi court axis of Olokoro in Umuahia South around 8 p.m. after the day's work when he was accosted by three armed men operating in a keke. They attempted to force him into the boot of his car. However, Udensi resisted, and as he tried to escape, the assailants shot him in the back, leaving him in a pool of blood. The attackers then successfully tried to start his car and instead accosted another unsuspecting driver in his Camry. The CP further stated that the police had launched a manhunt for the assailants. Abia State Police Command has arrested 141 suspects for various crimes, recovered several weapons and vehicles, and rescued 23 people, including 5 abducted children, since Commissioner of Police Danladi Issa assumed office on September 18, 2024. Speaking at a press briefing on Thursday, Command Public Relations Officer ASP Maureen Chinaka provided a breakdown of the arrests, noting that among the 141 suspects were 110 males and 31 females. Chinaka disclosed that the police recovered an array of weapons and other items during the operation. Some of the items include 5 locally made single-barrel shotguns, 4 double-barrel shotguns, 2 long guns, a pistol, 5 live cartridges, 1 spent cartridge, a vehicle, and auto rickshaw, 2 motorcycles, and 2 bicycles. They also recovered on the suspect cannabis, illicit drugs, 56 rustled cattle, 2 saw blades, a bag containing Nokia handsets, a spanner, 2 large scissors, 2 pliers, a small torch, vehicle parts, armored cables, 2 gas cylinders, a screwdriver, an axe, and several other tools. The CP highlighted the command CCTV project, explaining that discussions are underway with partners to secure funding for CCTV installation across key areas in Abia State. 10 persons were killed, while 7 others were injured in a building collapse in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on Thursday morning. A statement from the Oyo State Fire Service Agency disclosed that the incident happened at 2 a.m. at Jegeda Loyo area in Ibadan State of Ona Ara local government area of the state. The statement added that while 10 persons were recovered from the debris, 7 persons were rescued alive, adding that rescue efforts are reported to be ongoing as of the time of the filing of this report. Various political parties participating in the forthcoming Ondo state governorship election will sign a peace accord on November 8. The National Peace Committee and Independent National Electoral Commission coordinated the initiative aimed at securing a peaceful election process. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu announced this on Thursday in Abuja, saying the commission has identified potential flashpoints in Ondo and alerted security agencies for effective conflict mapping. Speaking during the 4th quarterly meeting with civil society organizations CSOs, Yakubu noted that INEC would conduct a final readiness assessment next week involving stakeholders, officials, security agencies, and transport providers. The INEC boss also shared that the permanent voters card collection period concluded recently with 64,272 out of 87,777 PVCs distributed, a collection rate of 71.6%. Yakubu expressed satisfaction with improvements to the voter accreditation process and results upload procedures, as well as enhancements in media and observer accreditations. New Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Sotiyo Igbalawole Emmanuel, has been deployed to the Osun State Command. Commandant Sotiyo's deployment was approved by Dr. Ahmed Abubakar, the Commandant General of the NSCDC, recently. The newly deployed commandant, according to a statement by Adeleke Kehinde, the Osun NSDC spokesperson on Thursday, stated that Sotiyo is succeeding Dr. Adaralewa Michael, who has been promoted to the rank of Assistant Commandant General, ACG. The statement said the Commandant Sotiyo hails from Abeokuta, Ogun State, holds a bachelor's degree in accounting and master's degree in public administrations from Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Osun State. The statement added that he had attended a remarkable array of courses, both home and abroad, establishing him as an expert in security architecture and leadership. 36-year-old Kazim Bankole was on Thursday arraigned before a Badagry Chief Magistrate Court for allegedly stealing 10 bags of rice worth 870,000 naira. Bankole, with no fixed address, is facing a 2-count charge of conspiracy and stealing. He, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. Earlier, the prosecutor, Inspector Edet Ekbo, informed the court that the defendants committed the offences with some others still at large on October 5th at about 2:30 p.m. at Mosafejo in the Aradagbu area of Badagry, Lagos State. Ekbo said that the defendants stole 10 bags of rice from a shop belonging to the complainant, Mr. Michael Oyediji. He further added that the defendant was caught by security guards who handed him over to the police. He said the offences contravened sections 411 and 287 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015. The Chief Magistrate, Mr. N.A. Layemi, granted the defendant's bail in a sum of 500,000 naira and 2 sureties in like sum. Layemi ordered that one of the sureties must be a civil servant on grade level 12 and then adjourned the case until November 14th for mention. Nigerian Police Force announced the arrest of Jibril Musa, described as a major arms dealer in Plateau State, as part of a significant clampdown on armed violence in the region. The arrest was confirmed by Olumuyiwa Adejobi, spokesperson for the MPF, in a statement issued on Thursday. According to Adejobi, Musa was apprehended with an assortment of weapons and ammunition. Some of them he reportedly supplied to bandits and kidnappers. His arrest forms part of the broader sweep of the MPF aimed at curbing violent crime across Nigeria. In a statement, Adejobi highlighted that the police have made substantial strides in reducing crime since the beginning of October. He also noted the impressive haul of weapons, ammunition, and stolen vehicles recovered by the law enforcement. The spokesperson praised the dedication of the police force under the leadership of Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetukun, emphasizing the force's commitment to public safety and security, noting that IGP Egbetukun's vision, according to the statement, is to see a substantial decline in crime across the country, addressing high risk including areas of banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and cybercrime. FCT administration has empowered youth across all areas councils with 80 vehicles for city taxis to Guzape, Maitama, and Asokoro to end transportation deficits in Abuja. The commissioning ceremony of the FCT Renewed Hope Youth Empowerment Program in Abuja, the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Yensomeze Wike, encouraged the beneficiaries to embrace the opportunity given to them in order to win bread in their families.
But let us tell ourselves the simple truth. He's the first president who said you can't continue to talk about administration, women are not involved, youth are not involved. And that's why he created the Women's Secretariat and created the Youth Secretariat. And they are not paying a dime. We are not saying pay government back anymore, no. Government is saying this is our own support to make sure you have something to feed on, to make sure you have to touch your family, and also to reduce the cost of transportation in the city. We will tell you how much you will charge the people because you didn't buy the vehicle. because you spend money. If the cost of vehicles, if the cost of transport is 50 naira, we'll say, look, go and take 30 naira from them, not 50 naira. But in a way, it's Mr. President's strategy to reduce the cost of transport as far as FCT is concerned. Make sure that all the area councils are involved. We make sure it has nothing to do with you come from Abuja, you don't come from, as far as you live here, you do your work here, and you are lucky by balloting you get. We will try to see this is a pilot scheme in Maitama, Gusape, and Asokoro. Let us see how it will work. And by the grace of God, it will work well.
The minister stressed that all vehicles are profiled by security technology to help reduce insecurity in Abuja, and that by January next year, all taxi systems will follow suit in connection to bus terminals in Abuja.
Because Mr. President means well for everybody. Most of the keke, most of the motorcycles are informants. Everybody here that's the beneficiary is being profiled by security. And so what we are coming up from January next year, there will be nobody that will operate as a taxi driver or a bus driver without having the approval from security, without security profiling you, and without going on with Abuja color. So nothing like using any vehicle on the road. No, we won't allow that. We will not allow that. For January, we will not allow that. And because we will do that, we would have also brought in more vehicles so that we won't have shortage. Those private individuals who want to have oral commercial activities, you must have to sit down with the police, with the SSS, who take the vehicle numbers, the name of the your driver's address. So everybody will have that confidence. This is the vehicle I'm entering, in case anything happens. But again, by the time we commission the bus and taxi terminals, by January next year, by the grace of God, it will no longer be standing on the road.
The former governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, who was minister's guest at events, said the socio-economic impact of the event was in 4 phases.
The socio-economic impact of today's event is at least 4-fold. The first one is that security issues will be addressed. The next one is that some people will begin to migrate from joblessness to some sustainable jobs. The third one is that tourism and the economy of FCT and indeed Nigeria will receive a boost. And I want to thank you for thinking out of the box to come up with this kind of initiative. It is indeed very rare. The roads can be beautiful, the bridges can be in place, but people need to drive on them, and that is what you have done today. Therefore, let me end by advising the beneficiaries once again that they should see this gesture today not as a piece of the national cake, but as a ladder to greater things. I see some of you buying some other vehicles on your own from the proceeds of this vehicle you are going to receive today.
In a different story, Katsina State Police Command has arrested no fewer than 8 suspects in connection with kidnapping, armed robbery, criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide, and other related crimes in the state. The command spokesperson Abubakar Sadiq, who paraded the suspects before the command's headquarters in Katsina, noted that the command arrested 16-year-old Nuhu Haruna of Fenza village in the Duch Shima local government area in connection with a suspected case of culpable homicide. According to him, the suspect allegedly used a stick and hit the victim on her stomach, which eventually led to her death, adding that the suspect had, during the investigation, confessed to the commission of the offense. The command has also arrested one Abubakar Nasiru, alias Haru, in connection with the suspected case of criminal conspiracy and kidnapping. The command said the suspect, who was earlier convicted in the case of rape, was fingered in an ongoing investigation about a case of criminal conspiracy and kidnapping, hence his rearrest. The command said in the course of an investigation, the suspect confessed to the commission of the offense and further confessed to having received the sum of 2 million naira as his own share of the proceeds. Governor Uba Sani has approved a new minimum wage of 72,000 naira for Kaduna State civil servants with effect from November 2024. It is a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Malam Ibrahim Musa, said that the decision is in line with the Governor's commitment to the advancement of the interest of workers and improvement of the living conditions of the poor, vulnerable and undeserved in Kaduna State. The statement added that the decision also aligns with Sani's lifelong commitment to promotion and protection of workers' rights, enhancement of welfare, and caring for the poor and weak. The governor promised that Kaduna State would continue to fashion and implement policies that measures to bring succor to the people. Additionally, Governor Uba Sani is set to launch a free transportation scheme for civil servants with the release of 100 CNG buses. The statement added that the Joint Management Committee, consisting of representatives of Organized Labour, NLC and TUC, and the state government, will be set up to manage the free transportation scheme for civil servants. National Association of Resident Doctors has confirmed the release of Dr. Ganiyat Papola, a registrar in the ophthalmology department of the National Eye Center in Kaduna State, who was abducted by terrorists and held captive for over 10 months. In a statement issued on Thursday, NARD spokesperson Omoha Amobi expressed the relief and joy felt by the NARD president, Dr. Oshundara Tokbe Zenith, over the release of Dr. Ganiyat Papola. The statement conveyed gratitude to everyone who contributed in her safe return, acknowledging the unwavering support, prayers and contributions of all members and well-wishers, which have been invaluable during this challenging time. ATN recalls that Dr. Popola, her husband and a relative were abducted in December of last year. Her husband was released in March, leaving her and other relative in captivity up until now. At the time of this report, further statements from the police authorities were still awaited. All Progressives Congress has dragged the Zamfara State Independent Electoral Commission before the Federal High Court, Gusau, over alleged abuse of electoral laws regarding the forthcoming local government elections. Addressing newsmen at the party secretariat, the state APC Publicity Secretary Malam Yusuf Idris Gusau alleged that Governor Dauda Lawal wants to use the chairman of ZASEC to manipulate the local government elections. According to him, the electoral law provides that 3 months notification must be given to allow parties make adequate preparations like primary elections and other arrangements. He called on party members who want to contest the local government elections to hold on first, as the party leadership is righting the wrongs. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Presidency has said the qualities of the new ministers appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu underscore his commitment to the economic revitalization of the country. The 7 new appointees screened and confirmed on Wednesday by the Senate include Dr. Nentawe Yiwada, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction; Muhammadu Maigari Dingia, Minister of Labour and Employment; and Bianca Ojinaka Odumegu Ojukwu, Minister of State Foreign Affairs. Others are Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment; Idi Mukhtar Marha, Livestock Minister Development; Right Honorable Yusuf Abdullahi Yatta, Minister of State, Housing; and Dr. Shuaibu Said Ahmed, Minister of State Education. Special Advisor to the President on Senate Matters, Senator Bashir Lagbo noted in a statement issued on Thursday that the appointments demonstrated Tinubu's responsiveness to the aspirations of Nigerians and his commitment to delivering the dividends of democracy to them. Lado also commended the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, for his uncommon professionalism in steering the screening exercise of the 7 ministerial nominees. Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has defended the proposed bill for the presidency seeking reforms in Nigeria's tax collection processes. Recall that the Federal Executive Council, which Tinubu presided over, recently endorsed new policies initiatives aimed at streamlining Nigeria's tax administration processes, enhancing efficiency, and eliminating redundancies across the nation's tax operations. But the governors of 19 northern states, under the platform of the Northern Governors Forum, at their meeting recently poked holes in the new derivation-based model for value-added tax distribution in the new tax reforms bill before the National Assembly. Onanugawa, reacting on behalf of the President, explained that the reforms emerged after an extensive review of existing tax laws. He noted that the National Assembly is considering 4 executive bills designed to transform and modernize Nigeria's tax landscape. He explained that the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill proposes the creation of a Joint Revenue Board to replace the Joint Tax Board, covering federal and all state tax authorities. According to him, the bill also suggests establishing the Office of Tax Ombudsman under the Joint Revenue Board, which would serve as a complaint resolution body for taxpayers. Nigerian Senate on Thursday adjourned plenary sittings till November 19, 2024. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made the announcement during plenary. Accordingly, the 2 weeks would afford Senate's relevant committees to carry out oversight functions on ongoing projects to determine the level of performance of the 2024 capital budget. Oversight is part of the constitutional obligation of National Assembly to the Nigerian people and requested for cooperation from all MDAs to ensure the success of the oversight. The lawmakers are gearing up to receive the medium-term framework of expenditure and fiscal strategy paper.
And in view of that, the Senate is hereby adjourned to the 19th day of November 2024 at 11 a.m. prompt.
Medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper are parameters on which any budget is predicated on. Consequently, President Bola Tinubu is expected to present the 2025 budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly very soon. Indications from the Senate suggest that the ad hoc committee set up by the upper chamber to investigate an alleged economic sabotage in Nigeria's oil and gas industry has not abandoned the probe, as recently reported in some media platforms. This is as the chairman of the committee and leader of the Senate, Michael Bamidele, presented a motion at the plenary on Thursday to rescind the earlier decision on the matter. Bamidele, through in his motion, explained that the House of Representatives has also set up a similar ad hoc committee to investigate the same issue. Correspondent Rotimi Adewuyi reports that it became imperative for both chambers to work together in probing the issue of sabotage in the oil and gas sector.
The Senate recalls also its resolution on Thursday, 11 July 2024, to recaption the title of the ad hoc committee to ad hoc committee to investigate alleged economic sabotage in the Nigerian petroleum industry. The Senate notes that the House of Representatives debated on the same matter and also constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate it, and the Senate equally observes that there is need for the ad hoc committee, for the ad hoc committees of the two chambers to work jointly to avoid duplication and clash in the discharge of their assignment.
That the resolution of the Senate be communicated to the House of Representatives, following which the joint ad hoc committee will be inaugurated by the presiding officers of both chambers. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
After the inauguration of the joint ad hoc committee, it is expected that the investigation into the alleged economic sabotage in the petroleum industry starts immediately. The House of Reps has introduced a bill to amend Section 49 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to allocate 6 special seats for women and persons living with disabilities, sponsored by House spokesperson Akitunde Rotimi. The proposed bill would increase the number of representatives in the House from 360 to 366, with the 6 additional seats reserved specially for women and persons with disabilities. According to the bill, these special seats will be distributed evenly across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones, ensuring 1 representative from each group per region. Candidates for these seats must meet all qualifications required for regular House members. The bill also proposes that elections for these roles would be conducted through an electoral college made up of members from the national associations of each special group, with inputs from grassroots and regional levels in a multi-tiered election process. Rotimi stated that the bill aims to enhance representation of women and individuals with disabilities who often face significant barriers in political participation. House of Reps has resolved to invite the Federal Ministry of Environment, the National Emergency Management Agency, and the Hydrological Service Agency to appear before its Committee on Environment to explain what precautionary measures are put in place to safeguard lives and property in the predicted flood zones appointed by the Meteorological Agency last month. The House has also called on the Federal Ministry of Environment and state governments to activate precaution evacuation protocols for communities along floodplains and ensure that affected populations have access to temporary shelters, medical services, and other forms of support. This resolution followed the adoption of a motion under matters of urgent national importance at plenary by Honorable Sesi Wigan of Lagos. Raising the motion, Honorable Wigan expressed concern that the predicted heavy rainfall resulting in flood could have devastating impact on vulnerable communities, leading to displacement and loss of property.
that the federal government has predicted 5 days of heavy rainfall, which may lead to flooding in 22 states and the Federal Capital Territory. According to a report from the National Flood Early Warning System Center of the Federal Ministry of Environment, published by Punch Nigeria on October 14, 2024. Also note that the identified locations most at risk of severe flooding include communities along the flood plains of rivers Donga, Benue, and Ogun in states such as Osun, Delta, Cross River, Anambra, Taraba, Nasarawa, and Kebbi, among others. The rainfall and potential flooding are predicted from the 14th to 18th of October 2024, threatening both life and property. The House is concerned that the predicted heavy rainfall and resulting floods could have devastating impacts on vulnerable communities, leading to displacement, loss of property, destruction of infrastructure, and potential loss of lives if adequate precautionary mechanisms are not put in place to protect citizens in these areas. The House further concerned that despite early warnings, there may not be sufficient proactive measures such as timely evacuations, provisions of temporary shelters, and support system for affected communities. This increases the risk of severe humanitarian consequences if these warnings are not addressed through urgent actions.
Other resolutions adopted by the House included the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing and the Ministry of Water Resources should carry out an immediate assessment of drainage systems and waterways in flood-prone areas and work to reduce blockages that could worsen flooding. In a similar vein, the House of Representatives has urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to relocate its local government offices to secure neutral locations and make adequate provisions in the 2025 budget estimates to accommodate the project. The decision followed a motion by Honorable Sunday Namchi.
The House notes that the Section 157 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, guarantees the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, unhindered autonomy and independence to conduct elections. The House also notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission has a critical role in conducting free, fair, and credible elections. The House further notes that majority of the INEC's local government offices are currently situated within local government headquarters or otherwise. The House is aware that this is potentially hampering and compromising the independence of INEC in the conduct of elections. The House observes that this proximity exposes INEC to manipulations and control by interest groups, particularly in areas dominated by a single political party. Concerned that this impedes INEC impartiality as enshrined in Section 6 of the Electoral Act 2022. Cognizance of the need to maintain public trust and confidence in the electoral process.
The House mandated the Committee on Electoral Matters to liaise with the Independent National Electoral Commission and other relevant stakeholders to ensure compliance and report within 4 months. Within 4 for further legislative action. A bill for an act to prevent, prohibit, and redress sexual harassment of students in tertiary educational institutions and for related matters has passed 3rd reading in the House of Reps. The bill, which was presented by 3rd reading in a committee of the whole by the Leader of the House, Honorable Julius Ihonvere of Edo State, aims to address the incessant cases of sexual harassment in tertiary institutions. Honorable Ihonvere noted that when passed, the bill will ensure that students learn in a conducive tertiary educational institution. Addressing journalists at the end of plenary, the spokesperson of the House of Reps, Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr., explained further the objectives of the bill, noting that the bill is enacted to promote and protect ethical standards in tertiary education and the dependency as well as trust and respect for human dignity in tertiary educational institutions. Also speaking on the bill, Chief Executive Officer and CEO of Gender Mobile Omunwuni Ogunrotimi said, in addition to policies, legal framework that will create an ethical infrastructure, the bill will regulate and ensure that environments of learning do not harbor predators. Also speaking on the bill, the President of National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Mr. Lucky Omonife, who expressed sadness over the ugly results of sexual harassment by students, he expressed optimism that the Senate will look into the bill as well for concurrence.
It's a bill for an act to prevent, prohibit, and redress sexual harassment of students in tertiary educational institutions and for matters connected therewith. And it is effectively passed in the House and will be going through the other legislative processes to ensure it is passed in the Senate, and by the grace of God, it will be passed and also assented to by Mr. President. I must also acknowledge the fact that this bill is a legacy bill, and that is why we're able to fast-track it through the process. It was introduced in the 9th Assembly. In the Senate, it was brought by Senator Omo Ovia Gege, and also in the House, Professor Julius Ihovere also sponsored this bill, but for some reason, it wasn't assented to. But I brought it back in the 10th Assembly, and we made a number of adjustments to strengthen it. And today, it is being passed. The objective is to promote and protect ethical standards in tertiary education, the sanctity of the student-educator fiduciary relationship of authority, dependency, and trust, and respect for human dignity in tertiary educational.
You'd agree with me that policies are not enough. We actually need a legal framework that would create, a framework of ethical infrastructure that would regulate social relations and ensure that environments of learning do not harbor predators, do not harbor perpetrators, and that there is a positive intergender relations across sectors, across geographies, across learning environments. And I also...
The over 40 million Nigerian students are very happy. This legislative framework and to rescue Nigerian students from sexual harassment. You see, this builds confidence in learning process. As students in various higher institutions, we have confidence to learn very well without facing any form of intimidation. As president of NANS, we always get reports of lecturer, fellow students, non-academic staff disturbing students, and some students even commit suicide. A case in study is the Ebonyi State University student, a lady, and this bill is a turnaround. We are happy.
The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill for an act to make provision for the retirement age of health workers in Nigeria. The bill, sponsored by Honorable Wale Ahmed of Lagos during plenary, is said to have the potential to revolutionize the health sector in the country. Honorable Ahmed, while leading the debate on the floor, explained that increasing the retirement age will retain experienced healthcare workers, allowing them to continue contributing their expertise to the sector, particularly at this time when the healthcare delivery system faces significant challenges, especially a shortage of skilled professionals.
This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, and my colleagues, seeks to give health workers the opportunity to stay longer in service and retain experienced professionals in service to train people who are coming in as other people are going out. I want to let you know, Mr. Speaker, sir, and my distinguished colleagues.
The bill attracted mixed reactions during its debates as those against it almost had their way, before further explanation from its supporters saved it and was adopted by the majority.
The people that are living for Japa or whatever you call it, they are young men. People that are beyond the ages of 50, 60, they are ready to stay and sacrifice for this country. This is where they want to end their days. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we are all aware there is a medical improvement all over the world. So people at the age of 60 are still active and will have the ability to contribute their own quota for the development of their own sector.
In May 2021, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, reached an agreement with stakeholders in the health sector to increase the retirement age for health workers from 60 to 65 years, hence the need to back up the agreement with legislation. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social.
There is room, Mr. Speaker, to give opportunity to the unemployed health personnel that are roaming the streets to gain employment instead of retaining. And we all know what we call the law of diminishing returns. It is very natural even in human beings.
Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, announced on Thursday that the ministry is set to launch the first ever State of Health report in the country. Pate will disclose this in a press briefing in Abuja, noted that the report will provide a comprehensive analysis of the status of the nation's healthcare system and outline the way forward for the nation's healthcare sector. He also disclosed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the release of 10 billion naira for the medical relief program for the provision of vital drugs to those in need, especially those affected by a flood. Pate said the forthcoming Nigeria health sector-wide joint annual review in November will serve as the foundation for the report. The minister stated that the report will also address maternal and child health care concerns and reproductive health, amongst others. The national coordinator of the sector-wide approach, Dr. Muntakwa Sadiq, highlighted that this year's JAR will establish a baseline for further targets and priorities, ensuring that government resources are deployed efficiently for maximum impact. The engagements, according to him, aim to strengthen collaboration among state, federal, and other entities to ensure adherence to the compact signed by the Health Sector Investment Renewal Initiative of the government. National Economic Council, comprising members of the Nigerian Governors Forum, has advised the presidency to withdraw the tax reforms bill from the National Assembly. They made the appeal hinging it on the need to allow for wider consultation and consensus building among stakeholders. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde said this formed part of the resolutions reached at the 114th meeting of the National Economic Council at the State House in Abuja. Makinde explained that the council members resolved that it was necessary to allow for consensus building and understanding of the bill amongst Nigerians. Recall that the Federal Executive Council, recently presided over by the President Bola Tinubu administration, had endorsed the new policy initiatives to streamline Nigeria's tax administration processes. While the federal government believes the new laws are meant to enhance efficiency and eliminate redundancies across the nation's tax operations, the northern elites are not favorably disposed to it. The reforms emerged after a review of existing tax laws since August 2023. Move on to the business news, where the federal government has secured a grant of 2.8 billion from Google to boost artificial intelligence talent development across Nigeria, aiming to close skill gaps and position the country at the forefront of AI innovation in Africa. Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Boshun Tijani, made the announcement on Thursday at an unveiling event organized by the Nigerian government and Google in Abuja. The minister said the support fund is part of Google's $5.8 billion commitment to support digital skills programs across sub-Saharan Africa. According to him, the fund will help close the unemployment gap and economic hardship faced in Nigeria. On his part, Matt Britton, president of Google EMEA, explained that the grant will be implemented in Nigeria through the government's ongoing 3 million technical talent program with the focus of 20,000 Nigerians with AI skills. Similarly, he noted that through the scheme, 125 educators will be trained and 10 promising Nigerian AI startups will be empowered with 100 million naira. Major petroleum marketers have assured the public that there is sufficient petrol supply and urge against panic buying. In a statement released on Thursday, the Chief Executive Officer of the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, Clement Isong, affirmed that ample stock is available in the tanks for the Dangote refinery and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Isong added that there is a reliable forecast of future supplies of the petroleum products. He further noted that the regulation enables diligent marketers to plan and secure their supply needs in advance, helping prevent such shortages. Consequently, he stated that MEMAN, which is MEMAN, does not anticipate any petrol scarcity in the immediate or near future. ATN reports that following the NNPC's increase in petrol prices across the country on Tuesday, long queues were observed in its retail outlets in Lagos and Abuja on Wednesday. The national oil firm raised the retail price of petrol in Abuja from 1,030 naira to 1,060 naira per litre, while in Lagos, the price increased from 998 naira to 1,025 naira per litre, sparking widespread criticism from the organized private sector, civil organizations, and the general public. Analysts have posited that the increased national minimum wage serves no function considering the economic realities. Speaking at Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, public affairs analyst Greatman Badon said the increased minimum wage can be considered as nothing with the high market forces.
That's no increase when the market forces are against it. I don't know if you get the point. You increase minimum wage and then every other basic amenity shut up. So who is going to suffer? The people, because they are deceived. Anybody who is shouting that minimum wage was increased and is excited is I don't want to use any word that is quite derogatory, but the person is not thinking well. Because if I was buying, let's look at 30,000 naira minimum wage, which was the old minimum wage, and let's look at the Jonathan regime, for instance. I was earning 30,000 naira, for instance, and then I could buy a bag of rice for 7.5. Of course, a bag of rice can last the family for maybe...
Mr. Badon further said that some workers would find it difficult to work with integrity if they are not paid well.
Can your 70,000 naira minimum wage pay your house rent? Then tell me why the people are not going to be manipulated. Tell me why workers will not sit down in the office and change figures. Tell me where the integrity will come from. When somebody walks into the office and wears a wonderful suit and is smelling good, big fish.
This comes after former governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole, criticized wage exploitation in Nigeria, warning that poor compensation negatively affects national security and economic productivity. Nigeria's money supply, which indicates a rise in liquidity, government spending, has grown by 72.8% year-on-year in September 2024 to 108 trillion amidst the central bank's reviews. Amidst the Central Bank of Nigeria's interventions, recent data from the CBN showed that the country's M3 surged to 108.9 trillion in September 2024, compared to 66.9 trillion naira in the same month last year. Similarly, on a month-to-month basis, the money supply rose by 1.6% from 107 trillion in August 2024. Recall that the governor of CBN, Yemi Cardoso, at a press briefing at the end of the 297th Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja, confirmed the growth in liquidity despite tightening measures. Up next, the international tidbits. At least 30 Palestinians were killed in Israeli military strikes across Gaza Strip on Thursday, mostly in the north, where one attack hit a hospital, touching medical supplies and disrupting operations, the enclave's health officials said. Israel's military has accused the Palestinian militant group Hamas of using Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahia for military purposes and said dozens of terrorists have been hiding there. Health officials and Hamas denied the charge. Northern Gaza, where Israel said in January it had dismantled Hamas command structure, is currently the main focus in the military's assault in the enclave. Earlier this month, it sent tanks into Jabaila, Beit Hanun, and Beit Lahia to flush out militants it said had regrouped in the area. Eid Sabah, the director of nursing in Kamal Adwan, which is in Beit Lahia, told Reuters some staff had sustained minor burns after the Israeli strike hit the third floor of the hospital building. The Israeli military has said its forces are operating in the hospital area based on intelligence about the presence of terrorists and terror infrastructure in the vicinity. We now move on to sports, where Nigerian goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali has revealed his desire to play South African giants Kaizer Chiefs. Nwabali was linked with the Amakoshi after his impressive displays for Nigeria at the 2023 African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. Kaizer Chiefs instead signed Rwandan international Fikre Tawari from another South African club, TS Galatasaray. Nwabali later signed a new 3-year contract with Chippa United and was also made the team captain. The 28-year-old admitted that a move to Chiefs would have interested him a lot. Real Madrid's away match at Valencia in La Liga this weekend was postponed on Thursday by the Spanish Football Federation due to floods that have killed more than 95 people. Villarreal's home match against Rayo Vallecano was also suspended after the devastating floods in eastern Spain. La Liga asked the Spanish Football Federation to postpone Valencia and Villarreal's match on Saturday, as well as 3 second division games involving teams from affected areas. The federation had earlier postponed several midweek Copa del Rey first-round matches, including Valencia's game against Parla Escuela. A moment of silence for the flood victims will be held at matches this weekend in Spain, including league leaders Barcelona Catalan derby against Espanyol on Sunday. In the entertainment news, Nigerian film industry and Yoruba cultural community are in deep mourning over the loss of veteran actor Pa Charles Olumoyo Sanyo-Olu, widely cherished as Agbako, who passed away at the remarkable age of 101. Reports indicate that he died peacefully on Thursday morning following a brief nap during which he had expressed feeling slightly fatigued. Balaji Amuson, known as Mr. Latin and president of the Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Association of Nigeria, officially announced Agbako's passing, adding that burial details would soon be shared by his family and association. As the oldest actor within the Nigerian film sector, Agbako is celebrated for his century-long life and his enduring legacy in the Yoruba film industry, where he holds a unique place in cultural memory. Fellow Nollywood veteran Jide Kosoko confirmed the sad news, prompting an outpouring of grief and condolences from actors, filmmakers, and devoted fans who cherish his contributions to Yoruba cinema, where he left an indelible influence on generations who grew up watching his unforgettable performances. Music executive and politician Banky W and his wife Adesiwa are expecting a second child. The video captured him cooking and helping around the house to support his wife. Captioning the video, he wrote, "Supporting women's economic power means doing my part in our home and community. While also advocating for gender equality, Banky W said partnerships is 100-100, not 50-50. That means that in this season. Arya Star has now surpassed Yemi Alade as the most viewed Nigerian female artist of all time on YouTube. The 22-year-old overtook Alade 805 million views after accumulating 811 million views on the platform. Star's most viewed video on the platform is her hit single Rush, with over 395 million views. Rush is also the most viewed music video by a female Nigerian artist on YouTube, a record formerly held by Yemi Alade's Johnny. However, Yemi Alade retains her position as the female Nigerian artist with the most number of subscribers on the platform, with 2.41 million subscribers. Arya Star occupies the second position with 2.26 million subscribers. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, a look at the major headlines. AIG pledges police reforms in Rivers State. Police nab major arms dealer. Federal government secures 2.8 billion naira Google grants. Nigeria's money supply rises by 62%. Spain mourns after flood kills 95. Actor Agbako dies at 101. Stanley Mwabali names favorite club. I'm King David Obasi. Thank you so far for watching. Stay connected with us on our socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.